I was with a friend, Steve, who eventually even flew down with Ole, and I told him that I'm gonna ask him to come to India. Let's do this, and he was just like, "Who is
Wow.
this idiot? Like, what does he think he's gonna do?" and all of that. And so I had like 60 seconds with Ole, and I told him that.
Oh my God, there is five people on this episode. For the last how many ever weeks, we've been struggling to get 2 people on the show. आज तो 5 आ गए, and that is because joining the 4 of us, it's already a full house with all 4 of us here after a very long time. But joining us is Tilak Shah. Tilak is a dear friend of mine. He is a fellow United supporter. He is also the guy who brought Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to India. He is the guy who has announced the lineup at Old Trafford. And now he is the guy who has launched a new beer called 12th Man Brewing, which we are all drinking today.
Thank you very much, Tilak.
Except for Prashant.
Sorry.
So I'm just going to open this nice can.
Wait, while we do that, Tilak, can you announce us like you announced the squad at Old Trafford? Please?
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that. One by one, please. I'll open it when you announce my name.
Okay, presenting the corner flag lineup for the day. Up front, we have number 1, Mukesh.
Yeah.
Going up after him, number 8, and our captain, Amogh.
I already opened the beer, but cheers to all.
Yeah, I mean, I'm making this impromptu. There's no number 8, there's no captain, but I think I enjoyed the most was number 17, Alejandro Garnacho. I put the Alejandro in the Alejandro.
Nice.
Next, we have AAKARSH as well.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I feel like, and you can just introduce Prashant, even though he doesn't have a beer.
Yeah,
I'll do it with my bottle of water. That's fine.
Yeah, that works.
Which is really the 12th man of life. So.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
But cheers all. This is a lovely tasting beer, man. I'm drinking the
It's
Hefeweizen
really
right now.
nice. Yeah.
Cheers.
Yeah, man, it's so light. I can't even taste it.
It's young,
like water.
and I love the artwork. I really love the
Actually, yeah.
artwork.
Like,
and the
honestly,
logo.
maybe I think the art is too good because that's what's stopping me from going to my second sip. I'm like, wow, I'm looking at everything. So I guess the art is a bit too good.
That's nice to hear.
Does that mean that the artwork on the can is a little too good, Tilak?
It's too good. Yeah.
I mean, how we see it, while yes, it might delay your second sip, Mukesh, but in the process, you're going to hopefully, like it too much where don't buy the beer only for the beer, but also the artwork.
Oh, nice. Yeah, maybe.
But you know what's really, really cool, and I don't know if any of you all caught it, but one of my favorite things about this is that it's batch number 1, guys. We have got batch number 1.
Yeah.
These are potentially collector's items, hopefully in a few years.
Yeah.
Feels really good to get batch number 1.
That is so
And
cool.
I love that the ingredient list is really like there's like 5 things, which is fucking excellent.
What are the
Most
5
of the-
things? Say what the 5 things are.
Barley malt, rice water, hops, yeast, and ethyl alcohol. So that's 1, 2, 3, 6 things. But that's excellent. Most other beers, I'm guessing, have a lot of garbage, especially the kind of shit that young people drink.
And
and like
I actually feel it. I actually feel the lightness. I know Prashant said lightness in reference to water, but I actually feel the lightness with this.
You forgot the most important ingredient. Love.
Love.
Oh,
Love is the 12th man of life.
yeah. Oh God. अरे ये तो आपने मतलब मुहावरा लिख दिया. But so this is great, all right, because we don't do a lot of branded things on this podcast.
Because we have ethics, but we also don't have money.
No,
But when there's ethics, there's alcohol.
no, it's because no brands want to
Ethyl.
sponsor us. So, but this is great because Tilak and I, like I said, we go back along. How did we meet, Tilak? We met at some event or something, no?
in my college days, I had hosted I don't know what's the right term, but like radio jockeys coming to college and doing something for Red FM back then. And then that led to the next one being with comedians.
Right.
And it was you and Kunal, I think.
Kunal Rao had
No, not Kunal Rao.
Kamra.
Kamra.
No. Oh, sorry, then I'm getting the wrong. The gentleman with the long hair now,
Ashish Shakya.
and a little bit on the healthier side.
Karunesh.
Karunesh, not Karunesh.
Oh,
Shit,
you
sorry.
said fat, so Karunesh.
Yeah, I said all the healthy. See, I don't know if you remember. So you would come to Jai Hind College, and that's how
Yeah.
we'd gotten in touch. And then
Yeah.
we've been in touch on and off for
Yeah.
12, 14 years now.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
this is an excuse for them to be like, hey, remember there was that like support group meeting for Manchester United fans where we all
तब
came
तो
and
नहीं था
cried.
यार नहीं back then the support group was the opposite. We were like the in your face group.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tilak, that is before Mukesh was born. So it's he can't go that far back in history. He has no idea. He has no idea what we are talking about. No, but this is great because Tilak, we've been in touch, like he said, and he's done some really cool things in life in terms of his what started off as Ace of Pubs, a regular pub quiz sort of event organizing company. And correct me if I'm wrong, Tilak, because I'm drinking now, so I'm just going to ramble on.
Yeah. No, go on.
And from there to getting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to India, to announcing the lineup at Old Trafford, to now launching your own brand of beer, I think that is absolutely fantastic. So
Thank you.
that was one reason to call you on. The second reason, of course, is because we were both Man United fans, and I
Yeah.
need somebody in my corner when these three fuckers are here.
Yeah.
So you know.
No, fair enough. No, thanks for having me. I think I dropped off for like a split second when Mukesh was talking about the ingredients. So, and this is not like a thing to sell, but since you genuinely spoke about the lightness and enjoying the beer, this is actually Maharashtra's first craft beer in a can. And what that also goes to, like, if being a craft beer means it's not pasteurized, it's unpasteurized beer. And because of that, the usual burps and the bloated feeling
Yeah.
and the gas that you feel after drinking pints of beer, because they've been heavily pasteurized to be able to be stored for months on end, whether in the heat or whether in the cold. This is not that. So this has a very low shelf life, and because of which it's slightly more premium, not too premium, $175 for a can. But
That's not
that
bad.
allows you to not feel like, even if you have all 6 of those cans tonight, Mukesh, you won't
Yeah.
feel the same way you would if it were any other bottled beers. So
He'd feel completely different if he had all 6 tonight.
Yeah.
By the end of this podcast, he'd be like, Man United is amazing, guys.
He wouldn't feel much at
Oh,
all.
is that the side effect? Is that the secret ingredient?
Coming to
The
the secret ingredient, the love part that you mentioned again. Sorry to cut you, and this I don't happen too often. So the idea around 12th Man is exactly what we are doing today. Is
Yeah.
about passionate fans of sports coming together and enjoying their game while enjoying a beer. Whether it's watching a match at the stadium or watching a game in your house or doing podcasts like these.
Yeah.
It's about the community, 12th
Yeah.
Man, beyond cricket, beyond football. So yeah, it's a very relevant fit, and that is the secret ingredient: the camaraderie between friends and lovers of the same sports. Really, sorry, over to you guys.
Okay, so which is absolutely perfect, and that goes completely hand in hand with the vibe that we create here at the Corner Flag. So my proposal to you is this: unlimited supply of beer for the 4 of us, and forever we promote your beer on the show. Like it's
and
it's
you know
just
how the
uh,
bellies will get so big that we can just get 12th man tattooed on them.
yeah. So yeah,
Okay, if you do the tattoo bit, you got a lifetime deal already. As far as my brewery is running, you've got the.
Okay, does
you've
it
got,
have to be a permanent tattoo?
yes.
Can it be one of those boomer bubblegum wala tattoos which you could erase?
I'll
Then I'll
be
send
back
you.
getting a
I'll send you
sketch pen.
water in these cans.
Yes, but let's talk about the football then now, because the beers are in. We have started drinking. We're all having a great time. So let us take that down a notch by talking about Man United. Tilak, because
I'm gonna crack open another one
yeah, why are you cracking open
to
open another
celebrate
one?
your
Celebrate.
misery.
इन लोग के finances की गांड लगी है. Barely they've managed to fucking survive in the Premier League. This bastard hasn't shown his face on the podcast for the last 4 weeks. आज मोफत का beer मिला, so he's come right on time. 8:30 na guys. Yeah. Surprisingly, this is the one day I'm not working at this time. The last 4 weeks I've been working till 10:30. oh, I can come record, but only if it's past 12 a.m., guys. Obviously, we are not going to do that. But today, because there's free fucking beer, this alcoholic has fucking made his way over here. So you
Amogh,
shut up.
you can delay
You keep
as
drinking
much
that
as
beer.
you want. You can delay as much as you want. You have to start getting to the point at some point. No.
Yeah, that's true. United lost to Arsenal. But 1-0 loss to Arsenal. Respectable, right? What are your opening thoughts on it, Tilak?
Honestly, as a United fan, what we call ourselves as optimistic, others call us delusional, and I get it. But even for that same delusional United fan, going into this game, it was a bit tough, considering we know what's on the line for Arsenal. I know it for a fact that Arsenal fans were more on the lines of, okay, City is anyway going ahead with it. It's almost unlikely at this moment. So let's just try and seeing how bad United is right now, let's just try and avenge the 8-2. That's what they've been talking about on their forums and chats. And then just to walk away with 1-0. I'm not complaining. Of course, it's always a bummer to see your team lose, especially United versus Arsenal at Old Trafford. But credit to Arsenal, they've been incredible throughout the season. I think this is probably the best football they've played in 20 years. So they deserve a 1-0 win at Old Trafford. And not so good to watch, at least the entire game. United was toothless almost throughout. Casemiro and Højlund, and it wasn't just what we could have been. Can't wait for the season to end.
Tilak, I really need to ask. What is the real reason you made the 12th man beer? Is it the depression or is it the Delulu? Come on. Let's cut out all the branding, all of that. How bad was the game?
So as Amogh at the start spoke about, I'm always in a particular professional way. In this also, while I would love to give you a kick-ass answer, the truth is actually because of my passion for sports and for watching games together. That's what it is. And then Ace of Pubs, what Amogh spoke about, we conduct events within the restaurant spaces across the country. We do 200, 250 quiz nights every month. So the plug-in was there where I already have a network of restaurants, and then I got the right opportunity. So no, it wasn't for the depression. Although it's coming in handy now.
Look, even though you may not have created the beer for the depression, it's fueling our depression as United fans. So I think that's a match made in heaven. So well done on that. I think it was just I've stopped watching United only this season, and not that there's too much of it left, but I have to. I don't even consider myself a United fan this season anymore. I'm just happy that Mumbai City have won the ISL. I'm like, I'm a Mumbai City fan. So that's great.
No, but guys, honestly, United, they were bad. But they could have easily made this a 1-1. They could have seen. They really could have. Like United was depressing to watch. Even as a Liverpool fan, it's depressing. But I'm saying, I actually feel like, hey, they had a few chances. Like, if they could, and I'm saying this as a Liverpool fan, if the front three could learn to shoot a little bit, right? Just pull off a little bit spectacular or just closer to spectacular, the game was Arsenal's to lose, because actually Arsenal defended well, but I don't think they had. Because Onana was in good form. He was pulling almost a classic the year sort of game. He was in good form, so it didn't feel like he was going to concede more than one. So they could have really taken points off of Arsenal United, but they didn't, and they just couldn't finish their shot. So I guess it's not that bad. But enough to start a beer company and start drinking.
You know what? Like,
that's
Amogh, the first thing you said was, respectable 1-0 loss. Even the analysis and all I've been reading is, not bad. United held on, just a 1-0 loss. And one of football's oldest cliches is that, it's the 1-0 victories that feel the best, because those are the ones that matter. With United, it's the others. It's the 1-0 losses. At least it's not like 3-4 goals. 1-0, man, not bad.
No, I'm just saying that with a defense that had Johnny Evans and Casemiro, we shipped only one goal from a title-challenging team. That's a great performance. It sucks that it's come to that, but fuck, that's a great performance.
Man, I'm seeing Liverpool's future. I'm seeing myself 1 year later. I'm like, what am I going to start? A mineral water company? A chai company? Something.
Paracetamol.
Saradon Company, I think, is the best way to go.
Saradon.
So Wayne Rooney actually had some interesting points to make on Sky Sports, where he was a pundit. He said that some of the injured players, and this is really sensational, he said that some of the injured United players can actually play. They're just ducking their responsibilities, and they just want to avoid these games so that they're fit in time for the FA Cup final. Now, this is Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney was just built different. I think if he had a fractured leg, he would still want to come and play on crutches. Like, he had to be held back, I think. And I don't think he realizes that other humans are not built the same way. But do you think there's some sort of truth to what he's saying?
He isn't wrong, no? I mean, it's not like the Arsenal game was such a big game for United. Like, the FA Cup obviously matters a big deal. If you guys come off with a trophy, obviously you guys will be like, shit, doesn't matter where we finished in the season. At least you still got an FA Cup victory. So I get his point where he's like, okay, let's just be a little conservative and let's just keep our good players, whatever good players we have left behind on the bench.
Yeah, but Rooney is saying that some of the players who are injured are not really injured and they can actually play. They might not be fully fit, but they can play.
Hey, maybe
I
he's
think
just venting about Birmingham and saying United, but complaining about how bad his job was.
Yeah.
I think after Harry Maguire got that shitstorm of social media treatment last year, every United player is like, bhai, it's better you don't try and fail than you try and fail.
Okay, so
and it's very clear that they're extremely apprehensive.
I'll tell you what. Now, this is a very interesting point. So I open this up to everyone here. Okay. Now we know that, and it's not just United, but most football teams, their fan bases on social media are very toxic towards their players. Right? Whenever they have a bad day, it is a fucking shitstorm of toxicity, and it's every club basically. Now, do you really blame the players for not giving a shit when the fans are going to be on their backs so viciously after a bad performance? Because I understand that it's a vicious cycle, but for example, why should Rashford give a shit? Because the fans are calling him out on a weekly basis anyway. At no point is he actually getting the overwhelming support that he should probably get.
Okay. No, here's the thing. I think the trolling and everything is bad, right? It's terrible. That's indefensible. But the harsh criticism that players, I'm just talking criticism, which is, I'm just like, let's separate the trolls. The trolls are disgusting, all of that. But I'm saying funny trolls and criticism, right? Which you get. When he was saving kids with food, everyone was supporting him. When he was doing really well for that spell of 3 games, 6 months or about 8 months.
Let me cut you off. Because when he was feeding the kids, he was still getting racially abused by the right-wing British media, right?
I'm saying leave that. So that's disgusting. I'm saying leave that. That's absolutely disgusting. There's no point discussing that because there's no like, hey, on the other hand with that, right? That's like straight up garbage. But I'm saying the amount of criticism a player gets, right? It's the amount they celebrated was also so much, right? So I feel like, and even say 15, 20 years ago when Rooney was in his prime or whatever, the British press was basically the trolls of that era, and it affected them as much as this would affect players now. I would say the only thing right now is that I don't know where I heard this, but one of these British shows or whatever, where I heard that back then if you didn't buy the newspaper, you didn't read the shit. Whereas now it's almost impossible with the amount of PR that you have to not be on social media. So you can't not read at least
No, but then, that's what I'm saying, right? Like, if you're a United fan, your job is to cheer the team on. Your job is to support the team, right? I don't think fans realize that players are doing the best they can and they are the harshest critics of their own selves, right? Like,
correct.
At no point, I say that I know that Rashford went out drinking after a loss. But मतलब depression में कर लेते हैं लोग. I'm saying that he is the first person.
He's like, यार एक beer company start करते हैं.
No, but I'm saying like Rashford is the first person, or Casemiro is the first person, being an elite player that he is. They're the first people who are going to be like, yeah, we fucked up. We didn't play well. How do we put this right? It does not help when there's millions of social media followers telling them they're shit and they deserve to be kicked out of the club. Because if they're constantly going to be reading that, when they go into work the next morning or when they go in to play the next match, they're going to be like, okay, but why? Why should we put in more of an effort? Because these guys hate us anyway. I feel there is a solution to this. Like you said, this was because back in the day, if you didn't buy the newspaper, you wouldn't read all the criticism. Now everybody has access to social media and everybody has access to say things that they want to say on social media. I feel like football fans should not be allowed to tweet negative things on social media. अगर तुम लोग को criticize करना है तो podcast set up करो, because इसमें थोड़ा effort लगता है. It's not just sitting in your fucking underwear and just typing out whatever 140 characters on
Yeah.
Twitter. इसमें mic डालना पड़ता है, recording studio book करना पड़ता है, you know, आकर्ष को बोलना पड़ता है प्लीज आना यार, कितना शूट करेगा,
उसको दारू पिलाना पड़ता है.
हाँ, तो थोड़ा एफर्ट है इसमें, वो एडिट करना पड़ता है. So it's a process. So if you have a podcast, then you are okay to criticize these players.
Yeah.
If you're just going to do that on Instagram or Twitter, then fuck off, we don't need you. And if you do that, then something needs to happen. Some punishment needs to happen.
Yeah. Then you have to play a game of football immediately drunk. And then that has to be posted online for other people to troll.
Now, Rooney also said that he was in the squad when David Moyes was manager in his 7 months in charge when United finished 7th after Ferguson's retirement. And he said that I finished 7th with United under Moyes, but that did not feel as bad as it feels right now with Ten Hag. So the question again, and I pose this to you, Tilak, is Eric Ten Hag in or out? Like, that is the biggest fucking topic in terms of Manchester United, right? Like, what is going to happen with this manager? Do you want him to stay for the 1 year that he has left on his contract, or do you want him to be sacked?
So for me and for any other, I'll probably even just say it as a stadium-going United fan, it's always about backing the manager.
Yeah.
He's there for a reason. Sir Alex's words still ring true to my ears when he said that now your job is to back the next manager. I don't think he also perceived that there'll be 7 after him, but in such a short span of time. But that's what he said.
We should use AI to edit that speech. Now your job is to back the next 25 managers.
Yeah. So as a fan, no matter what, I do see the fact that there is only so much after a certain phase that a manager can do. And as you said, the players have put their hands up. The solution, which you jokingly said, Amogh, but otherwise is the sentence that you said before the thing that they should not be allowed, is that players are constantly reading the millions of fans who are, disregarding all their efforts. That constant part is what can be changed. Where if Marcus Rashford or anybody else, they're absolute elite professionals at the highest level in a global sport. Nothing is bigger than football. They need to have that ability to be like, okay, you know what? This is not helping me, my game or my mind. And so here is where I take a step back. And it means like literally you have an army of agency folks who will handle that for you. Be active and get your brand deals and all. You don't need to be on the front line.
But they do that anyway. No, they do that anyway. I don't think Rashford is personally reading most of his tweets. They have PR people and agents to manage for them. But no, the thing is, because these tweets then leak out into other sources, they come out into the news. Like, it's constantly there. And let's be honest, man, you can't expect anybody in this day and age to not be attached to their phones. Like, that is just the dystopia that we live in.
That's the thing. You're not anybody. You're not everybody. The 11 players who walk out at that Old Trafford pitch are literally 11 in a billion, if not every other person who knows Man United would want to be on that turf, and they're there. So when Mukesh is saying we should start playing and then we control the people who we film. Otherwise, we are not professional, elite professionals. These guys are. So that's what you do expect them. Just because fans are criticizing them, the right way to do it is not through PR stunts or anything else, but to make a statement. It's this quickly that the Man United fans will turn all whatever negative that we're speaking about into positive if there is one phenomenal performance. And then that's what he builds onto. But that one is also not coming through. So coming to Eric Ten Hag in or out, it's not so much about Eric Ten Hag as much as it is about our players taking up the onus, taking up the mantle. It is very visible when you'll see Casemiro just diving around once in a while, being like, what the hell is he doing? And you'll realize that he's sort of given up on it already. So Eric Ten Hag, for me, it's not. He'll go. Somebody else will come into the system. I love how the entire system, the structure, the personnel, everything is being revamped by Sir Jim, and that works out very well in our favor. Where if a manager is not new in a new system, at least one person is common from a year ago, not too long ago. It will be beneficial to the club. So think of it this way: if Eric Ten Hag was at Ajax right now, okay, and Bayern is looking for a coach, and Chelsea is looking for a coach, and United is looking for a coach, everyone would be gunning for Eric. Everybody would be like, "Oh, he's the man to get," right? But you have him now, and then because of the way the season has passed, it's not, at least not, it's too soon for me for sure.
Right. So
Yeah.
no,
Sorry.
go on.
I was saying, I actually feel like Ten Hag is probably the only one who has come in the manager since Ferguson, who has come
Maybe.
to say that he's come with a plan of how United should play, rather than trying to have some stopgap method. Like I think he said he wants best transition team or something like that. He said, right? I think that's what he said about United. So maybe his scouting is bad. Maybe he needs help in picking the right players, because clearly like he's also had some bad luck. I think 3 out of the back four that he wanted are not there. Lysandro, Luke Shaw, if I'm not wrong, and Malasa. These 3 are not there. So clearly that's gone. That's basically the season gone. The minute 3 out of 4 of your defense is gone, the season's gone, right? You can the best you can hope for is 4th or 5th. So the fact that I think what gives me hope is that he's the only manager till now who has some vision of how United should play. And which is why probably maybe at least a year or two backing him with but telling him, but bhai, don't pick players, tell us what you want, we'll get the players for you.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, every club, and maybe United especially, because, well, I'm sure United would love to swap places with Arsenal right now because that's where you want to be, competing for the title. But if you look at Arsenal and their current manager and their last manager, they got Unai Emery. They didn't give him enough time. He's clearly a very, very good manager because what he's doing with Aston Villa is nothing short of amazing. Then they got Arteta, and Arteta was having a poor time. His first couple of seasons were very, very similar to Eric Ten Hag's, where it was 7th, 8th-ish, a cup run, but didn't really materialize. But they were patient. They gave him time. There were flashes of brilliance that you saw from his teams, but not consistent enough. But patience has helped him get here and has helped Arsenal get to a point where we're one game week away from the end and they are still in with a shout for the title. So I think Arsenal should be an inspiration for United, and they should give Eric Ten Hag at least another year and let him fulfill his contract, if not more.
Awesome. Perfect. Now,
yeah, because otherwise just the last one, otherwise it's going to be like, it's like always in transition.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's like, oh,
I completely agree. Like, knee-jerk reactions are...
Why are we still talking about Ferguson? Like, it's almost 10 years.
10 years.
Right? Like, can you imagine 10 years ago? Like, that's mental to still be talking about him and transition and all of that. So
now, Tilak, a very hard question maybe for you. How does Eric Ten Hag compare to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? And I know you brought him to India, so you have a little bit of a soft spot for him. Tera jack hai udhar, like tera contacts hai. But objectively speaking, how do you rate the two managers? Because from my point of view, I thought we should have stuck with Solskjaer also.
I mean, that's a very tough question. At the same time, it's a very simple answer. What Mukesh said very specifically, it's about being patient. I think under Arteta, Arsenal had such a bad spell once upon a time. Like, we're talking about 10 losses back to back or something crazy like that.
Right.
At a club like United, by now, Eric Ten Hag would have also been sacked. The good part in this entire ecosystem right now is the Sir Jim Ratcliffe's involvement.
Yeah.
Had Sir Jim been there when Ole was there, it would have been different. It wouldn't have panned out the way it did. Ole did have incredible momentum, especially towards the end, before the season where we signed Ronaldo. I don't know if you remember Amogh and but even the others. But in the pandemic season, the no fan stadium season, we were scoring 4 goals for fun every second game. We were in our swiftest phase of sorts. Yeah. And then, Ronaldo comes in, which is a great thing. Ole said it when he was in India as well, that it was the right decision to make, but the outcome of it was not something that worked out. But at that time, nobody in the world, including Ole, he's never said no. He's always stuck to it that I did, consent of the move. The club did ask him, and then he made it. So it could have worked out to be something where United could have gone back to their prime, and Ronaldo would have had the perfect end to his career of doing that for Man United, but it didn't, and that's what it is. Yeah. Ole had to pay the price for that. I wouldn't want Eric or any other manager for that fact to pay the price unless they are genuinely not up for the role. So, in comparison to Ole, that's a tough one, but Ole deserves to be there. In comparison to dealing with the reality, Eric is there, and he must get his fair chance, which he will. I'm confident Sir Jim is not going to be like previous managerial decisions, management decisions that were made.
Yeah.
So Jim is bringing in, he's, I don't know how much of it you're aware of, but it's public knowledge, but he's brought in a gentleman who is a cyclist expert for the team. Yeah, and not that he's going to do anything with cycling, but something on the lines of he coached the I wish I would have known more details about this as well, but his expertise is not football; it's sports, and within sports, it's cycling and so on. But he has this incredible acumen around it. So,
is he the guy who helped the Great Britain team win the gold?
Very likely, like he
think
has
of
some kind of accolade in those lines.
This is Sir Dave Brailsford, no?
I think 19. Yeah, it is Sir Dave Brailsford. Yeah. So when I'm interacting with fans on flights and trains, and they support Liverpool, they live in Merseyside, this that, they are speaking incredibly highly of what's going on at Old Trafford, and they're seeing it as it is, as against on fans globally who do have their entitled rights to share their opinion. So Sir Jim's going to play it the mature way. I loved one of his interviews recently where he said that signing Mbappe is not the smart thing to do. Anybody can do that. Yeah. It's about finding the right manner to go about it and so on, and finding the next Mbappe of sorts. Yeah. So Eric stays. I back him. In comparison to Ole, Ole was hard done. It is what it is. Back the manager now.
How did the event come about?
Sorry, guys. Yeah, I was going to be like, you just said twice now that, oh yeah, you got Ole, and I'm like, bro, we can barely get AAKARSH to the podcast. How did you get Ole to? How did you get Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to? How did you get him to India? I was like, hello, Ole.
Yeah.
What does that just take us from day zero? Like, I'm sorry, I have patience. I have 5 beers left. Take me through everything of how you did that. Like, I'm ready to hear. I don't care about the others. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And while everything might sound like a very long story, it's actually quite short. Exactly 1 year and 1 day ago, on the 12th of May in 2023, I attended an event in Manchester, which was an evening with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I happened to be there. I was watching United take on Wolves the next day, and then Fulham, the last 2 games of the season last season. And I was going for the FA Cup final. I was there for Coldplay in Manchester. Lots of things were going on, and this happened to pop up.
Nice.
So just as an experience, and I've loved the guy since day zero. So I bought myself the most premium ticket, which includes like a meet and greet. And it was my first time attending an event like that. I know that that's a very common affair in the UK and in Europe at large, where you have these premium experiences. And I was amazed at, this is what we can also do with our sporting heroes and idols and gods and whatnot. And it doesn't always have to be pushing and shoving and just getting a selfie. So in that meet and greet that I had with Ole, everyone had the same thing to say, more or less in principle. You on that day, I became a father and you did this, and I'm such a big fan, and thank you. And as a manager, you didn't deserve that, blah, blah, blah. I mean, obviously all heartfelt emotions, but I'm like, I've come all the way from India. While of course I do have to, say that I run an events company in India. So in my head, I'm like, you know what? I've had a couple of pints. Let's go for this. I was with a friend, Steve, who eventually even flew down with Ole. And I told him that I'm gonna ask him to come to India. Let's do this, and he was just like,
"Wow,
who is this idiot? Like, what does he think he's gonna do?" and all of that. And so I had like 60 seconds with Ole, and I told him that while of course we're in Manchester, we're in the heart. This was the first time, by the way, that Ole came to Manchester after the sacking. Mm-hmm. So it was his first time back in the city. And I told him that you're bound to be loved here. You've lived almost all your adult life, first as a player, then, and so on. And you're in the heart of the city. You're bound to be loved here. But what if I told you that 5,000 miles away from here, there is just as much passion, just as much love for Man United, for you, if not more, than here in Manchester? And he was like, because even in their minds, they can go on an autoplay at sorts that everybody's coming and saying, I'm such a big fan. Can I sign this? Can I take a selfie? And he's just like, his head actually moved like, what is he saying? And they're like, so look, I flew in from India yesterday. I'm here for a few days, but I'd love to, figure this out, and maybe we can do a tour like this in India. His manager was standing right behind him. I met him on a Friday evening. On Monday morning, I got a call from his manager. It took us, so that was in May last year, and in Feb, in 8 months' time, we hosted him across Bangalore, Mumbai, and Delhi. And it was surreal.
Well done,
Amazing.
dude. That was incredible. Like, I can't believe you just pulled that off.
As a fan,
Like that.
I'm not a promoter. Like, my other events are quiz nights and restaurants. It's not like I'm doing events with cricketers here in India, or ab maine achanak se football kar liya. I've never done anything like this before. But yeah, as a fan, I pursue my
No,
passion.
But that's
what made it so fucking
exactly
crazy,
that's what made
right?
it realistic.
Yeah.
It was very heartfelt. It came from the right place. It wasn't a
Yeah.
commercial sort of, oh, I'm going to make so much money out of this. No, it came from a genuine place.
Yeah.
Which is what made it fantastic. I think the next question is, who's next?
There are two in the pipeline. This is the first time that I'm revealing this anywhere. Although it's too soon to
Let's
share
go.
who to, but it's going to be out in the first one. At least should be public before the end of this month.
Okay.
I'll
Nice.
be sure to let you guys know, of course.
message box में hint डालना.
Is it Gary
Nahin,
Neville?
nahin. If it is Gary Neville, whenever the time comes, my vision is to bring down the overlap to India.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be good for Liverpool, Arsenal, United, and football fans at large.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the
exactly.
conflict.
Because see,
Yeah.
what is the overlap? The overlap is a bunch of footballers coming together, chilling, drinking, talking about football, right? What is the corner flag? It's a bunch of people who wanted to be footballers but who didn't have the talent. So now they are just dealing with watching football and pretending like they know a lot about it. Sitting
And play
together,
career
drinking,
mode on FIFA.
playing career mode on FIFA, and just sitting, drinking, talking about football. It's the perfect overlap, if you know what exactly.
Yeah.
So just something to think about over there. I think
100%,
the
no.
overlap X the corn flag is something that everybody in India would love to see, and I mean everybody. I mean even that dude in Patna, he'll want to see it.
No, fair enough. The reason why I said that I can't reveal it is simply because we're waiting for a few things to
Absolutely.
be signed off, and
Absolutely, yeah.
And then I've promised Jay Shetty. I don't know, not Jay Shetty. Sorry, he's going to hate me if he sees this. I've promised Jay Motti that we're going to announce.
How's that? That took a really weird turn with Jay.
Yeah, Jay Motti is definitely.
I was like,
Jim-
man,
Yeah,
have United fans reached there?
right. I hope you crop this out.
I'll think about it.
This will
Depends
be
on how many
knowing
beers.
Amogh. Yeah, this is going to be the snippet, the 60-second snippet he puts out.
Oh
on
God,
Instagram.
no.
ये reel,
no.
इसका reel बनेगा. You tell me how many beers you're sending, and if we are going to get to collaborate with future events of yours. But no, I'm saying it is quite funny that you mistake Jay Motti for Jay Shetty, because Jay Shetty is
Just
also a
slip of the
United
tongue.
fan. No, Jay
is
Shetty
it?
is also he's
okay.
been to United,
Didn't know
he's
that.
been to Old Trafford quite a lot of time. And I don't know what I'm most embarrassed about. Am I more embarrassed about Anthony being a Manchester United player or Jay Shetty being a Manchester United fan? I don't know what I'm more embarrassed about.
No,
And I
fair
think
enough.
it's the latter. So yeah.
I don't blame you for that. Of course, at the end of the day, Anthony is a Man United player.
Yeah.
But what I meant was, I've promised Jay at the Stratford paddock that the next tour of whoever's coming to India is going to be announced on his portal.
Nice.
If it makes any difference, I can commit the third player to you guys if that
Done.
is of
Of
interest.
course it
Done.
makes a difference.
Of course
We'll
it
be happy
is.
to-
Of course it is.
What I can
course.
say is the third player is.
Arey, we'll take Akash also. Fucking United player. Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But
Fair
awesome.
enough.
Awesome. And of course, you also announced the lineup at Old Trafford. How did that come about?
As a fan, I mean, it's as big as it gets. So Ole, when he came to India, what happened was the club started getting a lot of calls saying that, hey, we want to bring him to Malta as well. We want to bring him to the United States, and we want to bring him to Canada as well. How can we go about it? Like big corporates calling them, and big stakeholders calling them. And the club is like, what the fuck? We don't know anything about this. He's not coming through United. He's not gone there through United. We have no idea Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is in India. But what that did in the process was it raised the nature. The event was at such a level that the club was mistaken to be the one doing an event of this magnitude.
That is fucking awesome.
That's
And
fucking
that
insane,
just like
dude.
propelled me in there. And I've always been in touch with the club for years now, where I'm like, let me be the one to do very small insight, which Ole and I missed covering in India when he was here in the pandemic year 2020. That preseason in June, July was supposed to be in India. They were very
Oh,
advanced talks
wow.
of the preseason tour coming to India under
Oh,
Ole, but it didn't happen because of the pandemic, and the conversation never came up. I used to chase the club consistently. And by the club, I mean one or two people who I managed to get over there in terms of contacts that let me be the guy who hosts your events. I'm an MC by profession. So let me be the guy. Let me be the guy who organizes your I Love United events. Let me be. But, it has to come beyond a certain level at a certain
Yeah.
level for them to take that call. So when I did this on my own, they were just like, so being at the right time, at the right place, with the right people, with the right sponsor support, I managed to get that gig of announcing the lineup against Liverpool, which is like the biggest
That
game in
is
the English football calendar.
awesome.
That's
that's
amazing.
It's like
incredible.
Mukesh, what was the score in that game, Mukesh?
Hello? My signal's off, guys.
Right. Perfect. Awesome, man. I think this is the best time of any to take a quick break, because on the other side, we are not going to talk more about United.
Wait.
We will.
Amogh, if
Yes.
someone's leading us into halftime, it has to be Tilak. Everything,
All right.
everything
Yes.
halftime coming back, it has to be Tilak. We have a announcer, someone who's announced in the theater of dreams. Tu kya keh rahe? Chup hai.
Tilak, you want to take the honors on this one?
happy to as far as everyone's okay with it. And I
Do
mean,
it. Go for it.
All right, gentlemen, and all the viewers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That's the first half. We're very excited as we move away from United in the rest of the podcast, which should be more interesting nowadays. See you guys in just a bit. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Corner Flag, everybody. And as always, we begin the second half with your questions. Questions with the Corner Flag.
Dude, answers also, huh?
Super. Our first question is by Ganti92. And he
Friend of the
says,
flag.
where is Akarsh?
I'm here. I'm here. For once, I'm here to be able to answer this question. Hi.
Did you
Ganti.
speak to Ganti and tell him that, listen, I'm going to make a special appearance today?
No, in fact, Ganti had been messaging me about FPL, and I completely ignored FPL for the last 3 weeks.
And you ignored
guys.
Ganti as well, didn't you?
No, I messaged him saying मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा है, all of that. But hi Ganti, I'm here.
Wonderful. Akash is all fine. Next one is by Ashwin040. He says, can United still end up in European spots? He
No.
says, Mukesh, last game, heartbroken.
I mean,
Fully heartbroken. Fully heartbroken. Like,
Are we talking about the Merseyside derby?
I'm not yet ready to cross.
this is how much you've missed. The Merseyside
Oh, I think
derby was ages ago, you bastard.
Yeah, I just want to bring it up. I want to just rub it in. Nah, I didn't get the chance to do it on air. Only off camera.
No, the idea is
the podcast I rubbed it in a little bit. So I was just...
No, Klopp is leaving, so I'm not yet over it. I'm not yet ready for it.
Mm-mm.
I'm also not ready for the kind of banter club that Liverpool.
I'm
will
just
become.
waiting to see if any Liverpool fans look at Eric Ten Hag and call him a bald Dutch fraud, because you know,
with Arnie start coming in.
Okay, the next one is by Noob Clicks. He says, can one trophy in an entire season be considered quadruple?
Okay.
Yes.
I love
Thank
it.
you. It can be.
What?
Yep.
Oh, he's
See, there's the trophy, there's the top, there's the body, and there's the 2 years. That's the quadruple for
but
you.
okay.
And there's also the strings that you're clutching at right now.
For a second, now that Mukesh has taken over the answer, I realized that he was talking about Liverpool. For a second, I was mistaken into thinking he's talking about Man United in the FA Cup final against Man City. I was like, how optimistic are you कि हम जीतने वाले हैं?
Okay, the last one is by Praga19. He says, which Premier League team is mentioned in one of the Harry Potter books?
West Ham.
Is
Dean Thomas.
Did
Dean
he give an
Thomas
answer?
is,
No, he hasn't mentioned it.
Oh,
he just
no,
says also, and the question cuts off. That's about it.
No, it is Dean Thomas because it is West Ham because Dean Thomas is a West Ham fan, and the reason West Ham is the only club mentioned is because a very close friend of J.K. Rowling is a West Ham fan, so she put it in there just as an homage to him.
That's cool. West Ham has been featured in a lot of books, even in the Thursday Murder Club book series. One of the characters is a West Ham fan. Ron from the Thursday Murder Club series is a West Ham fan.
Richard Osman is a West Ham fan.
Is he
Osman? Richard
I
Osman
mean,
book.
that would make
Yeah, I
sense.
feel
That
like-
would make
Yeah, but
a lot of.
that I'm
Yeah, I
not
think
sure
so.
about. I'm very sure that West Ham is the one club.
Just the perks of being one of the more famous clubs in London.
Yeah. Arsenal who? So, yeah. Right. Is that it?
And that's all the questions we've had, guys.
Awesome. Thank you
That's
so
all the
much
questions
for
we had.
writing in. We did not forget to put up questions this time around. We did put them
No,
up
we
late.
didn't.
So, and I'm looking at you for that, Prashant.
Hey, man, but our fans still came through. I
Yes,
love them
they
for
did.
this.
They did.
completely
They did.
came through. Doesn't matter.
They
We
did.
love the algorithm.
Yes. Right. Shall we talk about more non-United football then? Nottingham Forest 2, Chelsea 3. Prashant, खुश तो बहुत होगे तुम. आप इतने खुश हो के आपके पीछे फटाके फूट रहे हैं.
I don't know how, but that's already happening on its own. So
Yeah, that's the new MacBook thing. It's a new
super
MacBook
wonderful.
thing. But no, I just it's fucking frustrating. And I know I said we wouldn't talk about United, but I find it fucking frustrating that all season we've been making fun of how fuck all Chelsea have been this season, and at the end of it, they are above United in the league table. It is the full tortoise and hare situation.
Bolo abhi. Blue £1 billion bottle jobs. Bolo abhi. Sure.
नहीं मतलब it's still not a good season for Chelsea.
Good alliteration.
Of course it's not, man.
Good
Of
choice of
course it's
Gandhi
not.
also with the alliteration.
Exactly, right? Gary Neville couldn't
Yeah.
have thought about that.
Yeah, yeah.
But
man,
honestly,
fun game
Amogh,
though.
what you mentioned about Prashant, you
No,
say.
go on,
Yeah,
go
go
on,
ahead,
go
go
on.
ahead.
No, what you were mentioning about United fans making fun all season, I for one, and I know a lot of others, like we've stopped taking a dig at. I've stopped taking digs at any clubs whatsoever. I'm like, when your own house is burning,
Yeah,
so I even for Liverpool, for that fact, like whether they deserve it or not, like being in a position where your manager is announcing his retirement from the club, and when you are in a pole position of sorts for the quadruple, to then go on the way they did, like you just got to sympathize with them. Not especially after the decade that we've had.
yeah.
I for one am not taking any digs, leave alone at Chelsea, who don't deserve it at all, or to that
Yeah.
fact, even Liverpool or Arsenal fans.
Only digs I'm taking are at Kerala Blasters in the ISL. Fuck those guys. That's it. Hey, small victories are all that matter for us. No, but I feel like with everything that's been said about Pochettino, and even he got upset about it recently. He was like, I'm sick and tired of hearing about if I'm going to be at Chelsea next year or not.
Yeah.
Don't ask me these questions, ask the owners. I feel like, honestly, it would be stupid of Chelsea if they even looked elsewhere from Pochettino, because I think he's a fantastic manager. I think he suits the club. He, much like Ten Hag, is a victim of his circumstances. He's been instated as Chelsea manager at a time when Chelsea is a club that is actually going through their first transition, unlike United, who have gone through like 10 transitions. But it's the first transition for Chelsea, right? It's very new, this ownership after Abramovich. The kind of financial security that Abramovich had, or the kind of philosophy that Abramovich had for Chelsea was basically what Chelsea were all about. That was the Chelsea philosophy for the longest part of at least our football watching careers, right? So it was always going to be tough for them to move from a different owner to a different ownership structure, and it did not help that they got a fucking basket case in Todd Bowley. So
Yeah.
Pochettino is a very good manager who has been handed a very, very bad hand, and I feel like if he gets the responsibility to absolutely be ruthless with the squad next season in the transfer market, I think he can do a great job, because there are some great players in that Chelsea squad, and they're
There
all
are.
young,
Yeah.
so there is a lot of potential.
Yeah. But there's always this other angle of Chelsea where there's always a business mentality. It's not just because of the new ownership, but it's just historically Chelsea is going to be able to sell more players because there's like a whole bunch of players. Now there's always going to be a question whether Pochettino, does he really want such a big squad? He can come back next season or in the summer saying that I don't want such a big squad. Let's get rid of a couple of players. Let's try and get some other players as well.
Yeah.
At which point Boli is not going to say no, right? He's going to be like, let's make business, right? Let's sell off these players or put them on loan. Now, that mentality is too different. Like, I don't know whether how Boli sees the club is the same way or is the way how Pochettino sees the club. Because Poch at this point has been very ambiguous, where he comes out, he's saying that I don't know what I'm going to do next. I just have one job. I'm going to get this team wherever I can. Baki, I'll see wherever it goes after that. He's been very ambiguous about that. And you're now sitting at the end of the season where he has won the mindset of the players, where the players actually want him to stay back, but some of the fans may not want to keep him. So there is that little, he's already won the players. So players will probably want to keep him. So there is that little weird angle to it.
See, I think fuck fans. Okay.
Yeah, of course. Fuck all the fans. Kyun chahiye?
Because I'm serious. I always feel like fans are actually overhyped and irrelevant to the equation.
Deny that.
I'm saying that. No, I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you said, "Oh, listen to the fans." I'm saying because actually Chelsea, barring finishing, which I think they've improved in the second half of the season, they've actually been a decent team. And even against Liverpool in that Carabao Cup final, it was just a case of course, they bottled it a little bit, but it was a lot of vibes. Just
it was a proper
vibes
fight.
Really won the game.
Proper
that day.
game, yeah.
Right. So I do feel like. Yeah. And even now, in such a shit season, he's taken them to a final and he's gotten them European football. And now they figured out how to finish and shoot goals. I think next season they're going to be very good. So I
that
think
is if the squad remains the same, no? That is always the biggest question.
Fans.
If the squad remains the same, if he's going to be around, these are all bigger questions around it.
I think he should be around and he should get to sell a bunch of players. And that's pretty much what is needed. Get a few... And by a few, Todd, if you're listening, I mean one or two experienced.
Of course he's listening. Of course he's listening.
टॉड बोली प्लेयर्स ऐसे खरीदता है जैसे वो बेंचो मार्केट गए काकड़ी खरीदने बेंचो कितना किलो प्लेयर चाहिए मुझे 2 किलो स्ट्राइकर देना प्लीज
आई स्वेयर I put more thought into buying mangoes than he's put into buying football players this season.
But sorry, they haven't gotten European football yet, have they?
No, they haven't.
Because 7th place may not get European football this year.
No, not
conference. You'll get the conference league.
No, 6th is conference.
Not even.
You get conference.
It depends on who wins the FA Cup. No, if United wins the FA Cup but finishes lower than 6th or 7th, then they will get that conference league spot, and 7th place will not get anything.
Yeah. But United winning FA Cup is come on, relax now. I know we have a United fan who nicely fed us and all. But relax.
No, even without that, they could still finish out the top 7.
Yeah. We shall see. Right, on the bottom of the table, Spurs beat Burnley and West Ham have beaten Luton, which means that all 3 promoted teams have now been relegated from the Premier League. On the other side, from the Championship, Leicester have already been promoted to the Premier League because they won. Ipswich finished 2nd and they have been promoted under ex-United coach Kieran McKenna. We're not talking about United. We're just making subtle references to people who are related to Manchester United. But fantastic job done by Kieran McKenna there. Leeds, Norwich, West Brom and Southampton all in the mix for the playoff spot. And the first leg of both those playoff fixtures have ended in 0-0. Leeds, West Brom, Norwich and Southampton. Who do we want up to join Ipswich and Leicester?
Southampton for me, because they've always supplied great players to Liverpool. So you promote the hand that feeds
they
you.
need the players now, don't they?
Yeah, so you
some
promote
some
the hand
great
that
players
feeds
Southampton
you.
has
So
sold
Liverpool,
like Ricky Lambert.
Mane, Van Dijk.
What do you want to say? Van Dijk?
Oops. Lovren too also, I think.
Yes. Adam Lallana was also Southampton.
Adam Lallana was Southampton, yeah.
Luke Shaw.
Yeah, he chose the better club. And then got injured for eternity.
For me, I hope Norwich come back up because that way I need to be worried about one less relegation spot. But Norwich is definitely going to go down. So just a safe one for me.
All right. Tilak, what about you?
I like the thought of West Brom. Hawthorns is a nice place to go to. It's a good stadium, not too far for United. On the road, Birmingham. So I'd like West Brom from that element. If not, then Southampton would be my second choice as well. Definitely. I mean, St. Mary's is not like a very intimidating venue. Maybe for United next season, I don't know what will.
Every venue is intimidating for United, bro. Like Kenilworth Road was also intimidating for us.
My goodness. So yeah, let's see. But definitely West Brom or Southampton, not
Leeds.
Not Leeds. Am I the only one who wants Leeds?
I also think.
Why do you want Leeds?
I want to see Faka back.
I mean, yeah, he's doing well.
I actually might want Leeds is my second choice because I just want one more United rival to come up and one more United rival that they'll be like, Harry, please, you also go achieve something.
Do charity for one more set of fans. Like, oh, we finally managed to beat United after all these years. Yeah, maybe.
I'll be very surprised if Leeds come up because they had a terrible collapse towards the end of the season. They were on top and then they were comfortably second place, and then last 2-3 games of the league, they just had a full-on collapse and momentum is against them. So if they come up, it'll be very, very impressive.
Right, now to wrap up the show, there's a very funny story. This is like I can't even. This cannot be real, right? But this comes from Dinamo Bucharest in Romania. They signed a player called Edgar EA, and it turns out he's involved in a bit of a scandal because apparently there's rumors that he's getting his twin brother to play for him, and it's not really him who's played in the 4 matches that Dinamo Bucharest have played so far, because this bizarre case was uncovered by journalist Daniel Sendre, who basically said that Dinamo put a deal in place for Edgar EA in February, but were surprised when a player arrived who did not speak any English, despite having spent time in Spain, France, Turkey, and the Netherlands, 4 countries that historically do not speak English as their first language, but sure, what the hell. And apparently it is Edgar EA's brother, Edelino, who has been taken to the pitch and playing as EA. It's also because they asked Edgar EA to give his driver's license and he refused. So now there's more fuel being added to the fire. This is fucking brilliant. This is so funny.
One of 2 things has happened.
And it means like, okay, if this brother is playing football, what is the other guy doing? Is he like
also plays football? They both play football.
Oh,
it's like Rafael and Fabio.
Yeah,
I think one of 2 things has happened because there's only 2 possibilities. One is that they watched The Prestige and they were like, "Hey, this is Christopher Nolan's best film. We should do something." Or the other scary thing is that they watched Doom 3, which begs the question: which is the retarded brother?
Likely Doom 3.
Doom 3, that seems more likely.
Yeah, definitely. It seems more plausible.
Who do you think, like from the current players who are playing in the Premier League, who do you think is actually not the player?
I think Harry Maguire has a brother called Jerry Maguire who played last season. There is no explanation for that, but
and he's the one who got into the fight.
That's why it happened. Maybe Jerry.
There's that line in
Jerry Maguire
in The Prestige where Scarlett Johansson tells one of the brothers saying, "Today you don't mean it when you say I love you. Some days you do, some days you don't." Where say some days Maguire knows how to play football, some days he doesn't. Some days he just knows how to be a prisoner in Greece.
Some days full brain fart happens. The other days he's like fucking prime Alessandro Nesta. But right, on that note, it is time to end this episode. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the Conflag. If you'd like to get in touch with us and tell us what you thought of the show, you can reach us on our social media. Mukesh can be found on Instagram at AAKARSH can be found on Instagram at
AAKARSH Chandan.
Prashant can be found on Instagram at
Prash224.
Tilak can be found on Instagram at
Tilak710.
Tilak 710, and I can be found on Instagram at Amogh. You can also follow the.
That's because he is Amol Randive, the twin of Amogh Randive.
I can't believe we should plan this fucking thing. Last episode, I waited for you, and you said no, I'm not going to do it. This episode, I tried to move on, and you fucking button with that shit. No,
He
but
told Amol. Amol didn't tell you.
that's true. It's Amol's fault. You can also follow the Corner Flag on Instagram and Twitter at @CornerFlagPod. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@CornerFlagPod. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button. You can also follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods from. And once you're there, do not forget to give us a 5-star review, because that absolutely, truly, and irrevocably helps us. Thank you so much to Tilak for joining us and for giving us 12th Man Brewing beers. We have a crate full in our fridges, and we are absolutely loving it. Tilak, where can people get this beer in Maharashtra?
We're soon going to be retailing at your local wine stores, which is a very big deal.
Oh my God.
So
Nice.
I think you can follow me on 12th Man Brewing on Instagram rather than Tilak 710.
Yes.
That's where you'll have updates. Currently, we're at about 40 locations across Mumbai and Pune.
Nice.
Lots of wine stores. We're going to be pouring at Woodside and Irish House Social and everything as well. So stay tuned. Yeah.
Lovely.
Wonderful.
Lovely stuff. Lovely stuff. Shout out to Kezat Garda as well for composing our theme tune. And until next week, it is goodbye from us. So say bye, Prashant.
Bye, guys.
Say bye, Akarsh.
Bye.
Say bye, Mukesh. Say bye, Tilak.
Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
And it's bye from me.